Hello there, my name is Ben and welcome back to Play the Game Central. So this is kind of a Q&A, although I've kind of watered down both questions and, for instance, this week's. I'm getting a lot of the same questions, so I thought I'd ask a kind of more global question to myself regarding those questions. But this kind of topic this week is my music. This week, I say there will be another one this week as well, so there'll be 2 a week hopefully. And for instance, next week's is more about relationships and stuff like that, and the institutions that surround relationships. But this week is about music, and more specifically my music, what's happening with it. 2 Down is a big anyway, let's start. So there was a really interesting question that I found, and it was from someone who was quite close to the Play the Game kind of fraternity, and it asked about whether the issue that with 2 Down at the moment is this religious divide between Callum and I. And I'd be lying if I said that that isn't an issue. Now, okay, it shouldn't be an issue. Here's the issue, okay. What's weird is that Callum and I both changed religious paths at a really similar time. So I went from being not devout, but I was a Christian, to an atheist. And Callum went from being, I think, agnostic more than atheist to a Muslim. And it's a weird time for both of us. You know, it's losing your religion is very difficult, and gaining your religion is very difficult because you have all this stuff that you have to understand and stuff. But the thing is, when you become an atheist, what you find that you do is you focus solely on the negative parameters of religion, because you kind of use them as ammunition against people, and you really shouldn't be doing that. But I found, in all honesty, that that's the kind of route that I was going. And Callum and I had one big argument about it, and I'm afraid to say that it's affected 2 Down, but I think it probably has. So it's kind of awkward now because as Callum is religious, okay, for instance, with Origins, I was the religious person. If you listen to the lyrics on that, I'm talking to God. I mean, it sounds mental now, but I am not mental because I don't believe in God, but it sounds mental that I've changed so much now. But that was my lyrical content, was very, not very, but it was religiously entwined. And I think that if we came back and did something now, that Callum would want to do that too. And I have no problem with that, because, you know, I'm not singing it. They're the songs that we're writing together. But one of the beauties of 2 Down is that we can say whatever the fuck we want because it's our music. And I think that, I think Callum has that song in his heart that he wants to sing about religion. And, a lot of dust has settled on, there weren't arguments, but the debates that we both had. And, the thing is with the religious and an atheist, you can't win. Because, speaking like I'm not an atheist, you can't disprove religion, but you can't prove religion. So there really is no point in arguing or debating or anything. People have their own opinions. He may not always be a Muslim. I may not always be an atheist. It's just something that is currently, and that's it. I hope he does find. I'm sure he does find joy and hope and all of these things that he wants to instill into his family and stuff. I now understand that that's a really good thing. And the thing is, Callum, I don't believe, would ever stoop into the darker side of not just his religion, but any religion. Every religion has a weird, twisted, dark side. If you want to go there, you can. I don't think he'd ever do that. I really don't think he'd ever do that. As well as Christianity has a horrendous side. All religions have weird sides. But I think that if we... And I have been actually thinking about it, and we spoke briefly a couple of days ago. And I'm thinking now, getting back into the studio with Callum is something that I'm glad we've waited to do, in that sense, because, as I said, dust has settled on that whole kind of scenario. And I think now would be a good time to come back and do something different, but I don't think it would be what a lot of people expect it would be now. I'll come back to this point in a second, but I wanted to talk vaguely about where I'm at right now. So what's happened with me and my music at the moment is I've been signed twice. Actually, technically, the second signing hasn't happened yet, but I'm still in the contractual phase. I'm currently... I have a publisher called Cobalt, who are big, I mean, worldwide. They do people like Britney, Katy Perry, they do Kings of Leon, big acts, which I'm very, very lucky to be on, and I'm very glad. They're helping me with all the Benn stuff, so all of the stuff you'll hear, all the Future Zombies albums, and I say albums, but and a lot of stuff, and they're really good at that, and I'm really, really appreciative of their interest and the fact that that's happening. There is another side note, and I can't mention the record label's name at the moment because I've agreed not to say anything until it is final, because it might not happen, it might happen, but it's looking now like it will happen. And for that, I'm looking to sign Songs by Benn, but it won't be called that, but that's the kind of working title that is Songs by Benn. And I'm looking to sign that to a record label, not an indie record label, but they're quite a smaller UK-based record label, who really seem to be interested and really seem to have a bit of money in which they can spend on advertising and promotion and things like that, and that's all really good stuff that I'm really looking forward to. But that's solely to Songs by Benn and that kind of genre of music, whatever the hell that is. But what I was going to get back to this is that 2 Down, I think if I approach 2 Down now, I'd approach it in a Songs by Benn kind of way. You know, with 2 Down, it's hard to explain without you being producers, but when you produce hip-hop and rock music, especially hip-hop rock music, that kind of new metal, rap rock stuff, you produce it in a very hip-hop way where you kind of layer beats, then you come up with melodies and bass lines, and it works really well for what it is. But at the end of 2 Down stuff like Wait For Me and Leave Your Soul at the Door and Humanity and the Wolf to some extent, that kind of stuff that all came from an acoustic guitar. All of it came from the original chords on an acoustic guitar that were almost written in the kind of songs, this is way before Songs by Benn, but in that kind of style. And I think that if we approached an album now, it would sound like, it would sound a lot lighter, you know. We went through some weird phases, Callum and I. We went through Origins, Forward March, which were both quite angry albums. I mean, I listened to them the other day and I thought, fuck me, this they're really quite angry, but there's no kind of focus for the anger, you know. Those were both experimental albums. Origins was literally done in a day, Forward March was done in a week, so that gives you an idea of the kind of time frame that we had to complete them. We set ourselves that challenge and we did it, and I actually really like them still. I go back and listen to them, and I like the fact that they're mixed appallingly and they're mastered horrendously, and that the tracking's kind of, you know, the good thing I think about Origins and Forward March is that we didn't have time to edit stuff. So, you know, if my guitar is slightly out of time, it's out of time. I couldn't go back. I did not have time to go back and do that. And in that way, it kind of made this starting point, which I liked. It was kind of not quite perfect. And, you know, then we went on to Here Is Lost, and that was a lot longer, and I think you can tell. But Here Is Lost was far... I don't say better, but more produced, and had its own kind of themes. It was about Earth, and before that actually we had the Planet EP, which had space, nature, tonight, and I can't remember the last one. Can't remember, but anyway. But it was, and then Labyrinth. We had, but we had this weird kind of thing with 2 Down where we couldn't fix on a genre. We didn't ever want to be tied to a genre. So, you know, our next single may be something that you'd never ever think that we do. It could be like a political reggae track. I mean, I've literally no idea. But to be honest, I think now that if we wanted to attack 2 Down in a way that that could propel us into the future, I think that because, you know, okay, I'll finish that sentence first. We probably do it in a kind of Songs by Benn inspired way, even if those became slightly more rocky or whatever, it would now start in a songwriter mode, because I think the songs sound a bit more kind of coherent, and they sound more like songs rather than tracks. That's a big definition as well. The thing I was just about to say is that 2 Down, we never ever set out to be famous, none of this stuff. We didn't want that, you know. I have a family now, I have a child and a wife, and Callum has a child and a wife, and he might have more coming. So I mean, we're very much not interested in being rock stars, but we like making music, and if you can earn a couple of quid doing that, then that's really good. You know, I think it was 2 months ago I gave my entire earnings that month to a charity that will remain unnamed. But I like kind of doing that because I think that you have to, in some way, remain, you know, I do all this stuff and I think that it's quite selfish. I always feel weird. I tell Boop that, you know, we've got this Extinction album, I'm not going to go on about it, but I tell Boop that I feel weird promoting it to people because I know my demographic is quite young, not all of them, but I know that a large proportion of people who watch YouTube gaming videos are of a young age, and I feel weird trying to force them to buy. No one's forcing you to buy anything, and I think it was in the last one I said steal it, for fuck's sake. I mean, seriously, I don't like pushing especially those kind of projects on you. I wouldn't mind pushing 2 Down on you, or pushing my new project with Joey coming soon, or even songs by Benn, because they're far more personal, and I think they're the kind of things that you couldn't do without, because I know a lot of people really like my personal music, and I think that that's quite cool. The other thing is with the future-proof stuff, like Zombies 2 now, which has been rewritten, there are things that in that I think, you know, I don't want it to be like you're buying the secrets of the next game, because I think that people, I've seen a couple of comments around that weren't particularly nice about me, saying that, look, this guy's literally selling Treyarch. Well, I don't think I am selling Treyarch secrets, because, for instance, Zombies 3, there's a load of shit in that you have no idea about yet. Loads of shit that you have no idea about, and you don't even know what you're buying. You don't know if there's secrets or not. You don't even know what game Extinction is about. You know, the actual album Extinction. You don't even know what game that album is about, apart from the obvious one, but there's a kind of underlying current that transcends that game. You know, there's a lot of things that I try and do to try and be slightly more interesting and slightly less boring. And anyway, that's the current climate with my stuff at the moment. Obviously, the Extinction is out. There might be a link in the description. I've got no idea, but that's that. Anyway, the other thing is, what guitar strings do I use, and what guitar do I use? My guitar at the moment, well, for songs by Benn, it's a Loden, which has been slightly customized. It's not a custom guitar, but it's been amended for me, called the Log, which is a really nice acoustic. And I use John Pierce, what are they called? Are they called New Mediums? I think they're called 770 New Mediums, NMs. I think that's right. I'm quite new to John Pierce strings, but they're amazing. Christ, they're amazing. But that's my songs by Benn. And then for the heavier stuff, like for instance, Extinction was all done on a Schecter and an Ibanez NN. And the drums on that were my new NM Apex kit, which is, it's just orgasmic. And then 2 Down stuff is either done on a Fender Jaguar HH, or I also use a Maverick. Can't remember the thing because it's about 10 years old, but it's been redone recently. I can't remember the name of it, but that's it. This guy wanted to know about the amps. Right, okay, slightly more. See, this is the stuff I didn't really want to get bogged down into, but okay, the amp for Zombies 1 was Marshall Mode 4 and Mesobuki Rectifier 2, whatever you call it, which I was borrowing at the time. I don't actually have a Rectifier 2, although I might eventually buy one. Then Zombies 3 was done in the box. It was all done using, what did we use? The main thing was Guitar Rig 5, but there are a couple of things that I used. What's it called? Is it Amplitude Fender? I had like a Fender. Basically, what happens with the studios, I get a shitload of software sent to me all for free, install it all, and then I use kind of bits and bobs as and when I want. And I think it's called not Ampeg. I think it's called Amplitude. I don't know. But it was mostly done in Guitar Rig, but it was quite closely modelled to Zombies 1 in a way. Yeah, but I think you can tell the difference between an actual guitar amp and in the box. At least I can anyway. And Joey's coming down the 1st of... Well, it's coming down a bit before that, but the 1st of December till the 9th of December. We're going to kind of flush out some songs for an album, which is really exciting. And for that, we'll be using a Mesa Boogie dual rectifier with a Marshall cab. And he's got, I don't know what guitar he has an Epiphone something. But it's not really an Epiphone. It's like just an Epiphone neck or something, and the rest is like a mental guitar. I don't know too much about that, but I'll be using my Ibanez custom thing and Mapex drums and all that stuff. So it will sound different because we haven't used that combination of stuff yet. And for that Joey thing that Joey's coming down for, we were talking about it the other day, and Joey was very worried that we were going to be making a dubstep album for some reason. I've got no idea why. I've never even mentioned that with him, but the focus on that album, what's really interesting to me, is I said I wanted to approach these what would essentially be metal-like songs, but from a songs by Benn perspective. So write them as songs and then change maybe the chords to riffs, or change the chords from an acoustic to a massive fucking heavy guitar, to try and make more song-like songs, because I don't hear it in metal now. I don't hear tracks that sound like songs. I hear tracks, and there is a very distinct difference, because I think the song has a lot more soul in it. Anyway, that's what we're going to try and do, and I trust that Joey will be the man to do it with. That's not a sexy thing, I just think he'll be very good at that, and I'm really looking forward to that. Actually, it's something that I'm really interested in. And anyway, this Songs by Benn album, that's the beginning of next year, by the way. Well, I go into the studio mid-January next year. It's either a studio in Calais at the moment, a studio in Dublin, or Olympic Studios in London. So if you're in the London area, you can come in and buy me a latte or some sushi, because that's pretty much all I eat. So that's it at the moment, but that's all the stuff that I was going to cover in this thing. There are a couple of other questions here with music, but about Songs by Benn, when's the album coming, when's Diplomat coming, and I'm not going to answer those questions because Diplomat is an ongoing thing. Diplomat, to give you just an update with Diplomat, I'm on 8 of what I hope will be 12 songs eventually. They take a really long time to create because they're not songs, these are noise that become songs. So remember that everything I do with Diplomat is meant to make you feel or interpret things in different ways. So you base them from original noise and synthesis based emotional pulls, and then build that into, or hide it inside of a song. And that's why they take so long to make, and again, they don't even have that real effect on you unless you have big speakers, but I think quite a few people do. Although I think most of my music will probably be listened to on headphones. That was another question. He thought, someone asked what I perceive my music to be listened on the most, and to be honest, I'd hope it would be like Bose speakers or something, at least Bose speakers, but I think it's more likely to be 99-cent headphones. I saw a drawing, I think I put it on Twitter or something the other day, I can't remember, that it was quite interesting to me, and it's my philosophy, because as a producer you kind of accumulate quite good gear. Like I have a really nice mic preamp, amazing mics, full Pro Tools HD thing, got mixing out boards, got nice vintage gear. I get it mastered, get everything printed to tape, mastered wise, and then what ends up is just someone listens to it on like a fucking iPhone or iPod with really cheap headphones, and that's it, and it never gets played how it's meant to be played. And that is the modern music industry, and it is a shame, but because you always find that my music sounds different to other people's. I mix in a really weird way. I was going to do... Is that something that you'd like to see? And you can answer me. I hate the new comment section on YouTube. But if you really hate it as much as I do, then message me, on my Bend Down account, and tell me if I was to open up some of the old zombie stuff, in Pro Tools, or I think it was Logic for Zombies 1, but I think Pro Tools for Zombies 3. Would you like to see how I mixed it? Is that something that would be interesting to you, to look at the actual file, the arrange page, and look at what was happening? Because I could do that, that's no problem. I've got no problem really in doing that, and I'll have to ask Joey about that, but there's nothing we're trying to hide in or anything, so, well, there are a couple of secrets, but I can just mute them. But yeah, was that something you'd be interested in? Because I can do that really easily. And it might give you a little insight into how I mix, because my mixes do sound different to other people's. They sound a lot more clean and less boomy and stuff, and I always strive for that. I always strive to have the, with my mixes, off tangent again, I keep doing this, but with my mixes I really tried to make sure the instruments sound like they did in the room, regardless of what it sounds like in the mix. I really want that idea of you're getting it at its original stage. That's kind of what it sounded like to me when I was making it, and I don't want it to sound like something else to you when you're hearing it, you know, on your whatever you're listening it to on. So the mixes will sound a bit just alternative compared to other things you'll listen to, but that's the way I like to mix, and that's it. I don't really care about that. It's just I'd rather hear the things as they were originally meant to be heard, rather than smacking a massive, what's it called, max bass. There's a Waves plugin called max bass, which gives this kind of low air. I think low air is another plugin actually, but it gives you this low, huge rumble underneath. And although probably we'll be doing that with Joey's next project with me, I didn't see any need for that in Extinction, and it's kind of like a cheater's way into getting this huge bass sound, and I don't like it, because you can't do it. We can do it live, but I don't do it live, and you don't need it live because it's so fucking heavy, some of it. So anyway guys, that's it. Hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you and goodbye.
Miller, take point. Anything? Oh, God. This is messed up.
Looks clear, Sarge. The new album from Benn, Extinction, inspired by Call of Duty Ghosts, now available on iTunes via the link in the description.